Hello everybody, January 30th, 2023. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. First, what I said on Friday is that it's pretty much 50-50 whether the next move is going to be up to complete a fifth wave in the 25 to 26.8 area, or if we're already done with wave 5. It is possible we're done with wave 5 and the next move will be a second wave pullback to 18 to 20. Either way, next major pullback is probably a good long opportunity. So let's jump into that. Take a look here at what I'm talking about. So the two possibilities are blue and orange. We have the blue possibility right here where that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is already done. This red area here, which we hit really nicely, is the ideal area for that to be a wave 5 based on this wave 3 here. So it is quite possible we are done already with 5 waves. My hesitation and why I'm considering the orange possibility still is that it is not the best 5 waves I've ever seen, right? We have a leading diagonal to start, which isn't necessarily a good thing. It's not terrible, but it's not necessarily the best. And then this third wave here it really lacks clarity, and potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 makes more sense for that to be just wave 3 in the orange scenario. So that's another reason I'm considering it as a possibility. We also have some alts that haven't actually completed their patterns that I think they need to. And so that's the other reason I'm kind of looking at orange, is maybe that's what's going to take hold here. So I guess at this point I'm kind of leaning 60-40 in favor of the orange, but it's really not clear which one's going to take over. So we'll have to look at the micro action, see if that tells us anything in particular going forwards. I think we have what looks like sort of an ending diagonal here, which is fine for really either of these, honestly. So that doesn't give us much information. It looks like we are now below that. Oh, my screen disappeared. There we go. It looks like we're below now that diagonal line, and so I lean towards the top, at least temporarily, being in. Meaning we have to at least visit this orange box here, if not the larger green box down below. I think that's likely. And if we go down to the 5-minute, looking at this micro, it does potentially look like we have 5 down now off of that high as well. 1, 2, we have, even within this 3, I can make out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3, which is great. And then potentially here, 4 was great. It didn't break anything, and we have potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of 5. And so again, that makes me lean towards potentially already seeing the temporary top, if nothing else. So there's the end of 5. And now based on this, I'm looking ideally for a move to the 382 to 618, which is generally this red box right here. Basically 23 to 23.4 would be the ideal place. It could go higher, but as long as it's below 23.791, so let's just call it 23.8. Below 23.8, the likelihood is we get stopped in this area and continue downwards. At least to that orange box. And that could, the next move down could tell us a lot, right? Because if we get a move, let's say to the middle of that, what we should see, if this is just going to be a C wave down, we should see this go down sort of the top of this orange box, and that should be about it. If instead we see this, 1, 2, a nice giant dump more to the bottom of that, and then even further down below, this would then look like a larger 5 waves, and that would signify to me that we're going to the green box. This, of course, would be followed by a little bit of a a pump and then further down into the green box. So the way this takes shape should tell us if orange is correct or if blue is going to end up being correct. But I think it's reasonable to say that we have the initial decline in either one of those scenarios in place now, and we're just probably waiting for a move up here, kind of this 23 to 23.4K area. Doesn't have to go there, but that would be what would be expected of the next move for either a second wave or a B wave. All right, so let's zoom back out real quick. The frustrating thing about this is that potentially we might end up in a scenario where it's unclear. Now, like I said, if this turns into, a nice big dump down, it's likely that we would get a 4 and a 5 then, and it's likely that we would then continue downwards. So that's what I'm going to have to rely on. But basically, orange scenario is not necessarily invalid unless it drops below 19,750. So, the clearest route to take would be a big dump through there and then get through 19.7. That would be clear path to tell us that green is correct, or the clear path to tell us orange is correct is that we really just visit the top of that and then start seeing recovery. So we'll just have to wait and see which one of those plays out. Like I said, I'm kind of hesitantly leaning towards that second scenario where maybe we're just going down to, let's call it mid 21 up to about 22 in the next leg down, and then we'll move up here, and then from there we'll see the larger pullback. Even if orange is correct, it's unlikely that we just continue upwards. It's much more likely that we see the larger pullback at that point. We haven't seen a large pullback yet, and we are going to need to once this initial move off the low completes. All right, I think that sums everything up. So, kind of a bit unclear still, but in either case, once we do get that larger pullback, I think it's a pretty good buying opportunity. The invalidation, just FYI, invalidation right now for like buying in the green box would be this level right here, 16,257. So if I buy there, if we get a chance to buy there, my stop is going to be below 16,257 because that would invalidate this 5-wave move up off the low. All right, I think that sums it up. So everybody have a good week, and I'll talk to you all again on Friday. We'll see if we have any more information at that time to tell us which one of those scenarios is most likely. All right, I'll talk to you then.